Hello again, internet. Hello. Sorry about having this blanket around all the time. It's just cold because it's the fall and soon be winter now. But at least that means like there's a lot of good movies coming out nowadays, including this episode's one, All Is Lost. It stars Robert Redford, and that's the entire cast, and it's directed and written by J.C. Chandor, who last did Margin Call, which I have not yet seen, though I've heard like plenty of good things about. Basically, Oz Lost is the another one of these isolationist Odyssey movies about Robert Redford's character who has no name's never revealed. In the credits, he's just called Our Man. So I'm just gonna call him Robert Redford for the entire movie because it actually works that way. Even his career lately. Basically, what happens is he's just when we see him, he's first on this boat, sleeping on this boat alone by himself. It's revealed in a monologue at the very beginning that like he's apparently done some kind of things he's felt guilty about, but he doesn't like it's not addressed to a particular subject. Could be like a family member or a loved one or another kind of loved one, or just to like God or some other spiritual being in general. And then it flashes back 8 days earlier to where a shipping container says rams into his boat, and he starts leaking, and this basically starts this chain reaction of his boat falling apart in the middle of this torrential storm in the middle of like the middle of the ocean like around like in the middle of like the African ocean. His communications are down. He's all alone. He has limited supplies. It's basically gravity. If you made it, if you made it the hard, this is the hardcore version of Gravity, where in Gravity at least you had like two characters, and they had a lot of back and forth talking to give you a sense of what they were doing or where they need to where they were going or why they were doing something or like why they were feeling a certain way. Wait, all is lost. After like the first monologue, there's essentially no dialogue. This movie basically has at most like about 10 lines afterwards, and honestly, half of them are like in a different language, and the other half of the time is just Robert Redford grunting or like saying fuck or help. Like you never like he never like talks says like, oh, I need to climb up this pole to reattach this sprier to hopefully get a better radio communication signal. He's just doing things based on Sailor's intuition mission, which I guess that's me talk that leads me to talk about Robert Redford's performance, which is absolutely outstanding. Bro, Redford has always been kind of as like since like at least the since the 60s and 70s. He's always been kind of he's always been an acting legend. I mean, The Sting, Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, just to name like a few off the top of my And he's been in for the last couple of years, for the last like for the last few years, he's been his own director's man for something like the last movie he did recently was The Company You Keep with Shia LaBeouf, which was a decent enough like old school type thriller. And here he has like another thing to show off on his filmography. Is like I did this, and like he captures your attention so well in this movie. Like from the first monologue, he has that sense of gravitas. Like he gains your sympathy from his very first line, and technically that's his only line, and from there he just sort of he's repented, and then like it flashes back and you see what happens to him because until like he apologizes or reveals his kind of guilt. It's like you get a sense like he feels like either some kind of like some kind of like veteran or some kind of like abuse, kind of like tortured father figure or something like that. There is like no backstory. It's not like in there's no backstory for his character. It's not like in Gravity where they reveal like Sandra Bullock, they explain her backstory to uh establish like the kind of emotional state she's in and how that movie sort of progresses, develops her. It's about like a rebirthing arc, and this movies like along those same lines, has a lot of the same imagery. This movie's basically all visual. It's all action. It's all Robert Redford looking at something. You can tell, you can see, you can imagine the gears turning in his head. You can imagine the dialogue he's having with himself about like, I need to do this to survive. And this movie's all visual, even more, like potentially more so than Gravity. But this movie really doesn't have the budget. Basically, just take Gravity and put it in the middle of the ocean, which is still pretty damn thrilling. Really, because basically the world, like it's like in Gravity, the world just hates Robert Redford. It's just his boat's sinking. No one. He's all alone. He has dwindling rations. There's a storm coming in like around 40, 50 minutes into the movie that is sort of leads to a lot of the centerpiece action sequences, like the suspense sequences where he's just barely surviving, trying to steer the boat, trying to hang on. He's thrown off the boat a few times. Those are really big moments, and it's a testament to Robert Redford that you are engaged and you're so shocked and you're hoping he makes it out okay, even though you know absolutely nothing about him. He could be a war criminal, and you wouldn't even know based on his because from the start because of that opening monologue where he's apologizing for like things he's done, which again is not clarified, but you feel like, because this is him, like he's forced to sort of come up with these not exactly his own personal demons, but like the ramifications of like how his actions may have led him to sort of be being by the world. Because there's this great review from Hitfix.com, Drew McReaney, who's who's like my favorite critic now. So the name dropping there, who explained like how dangerous the ocean is. Which is basically like the ocean does not care, does not know you exist. It does not care. It could not care any less if whether or not you exist. It like if it wanted to pound you flat, it will pound you flat. There is no debate in the battle between man versus ocean. Ocean will win no matter what, unless like we gain weather control over the weather within the next like 15 years. And like it leads to, I'm not sure how they shot this movie in terms of like, I mean there are a few CG shots, and that's one of the problems. It's like one of the smaller problems of this movie. There's some really pretty shoddy CGI work, though. Like there's only a few scenes of them, and they're kind of placed here and there, so it's not too distracting. Though they are like, you can tell very easily. There's some beautiful cinematography work going on. It's on in this movie by I don't remember who. I say it in like a random review, which I'll post. I might post in the comments in the description. Both underwater and on set, because it's like Gravity. It captures the vast scale of being stranded in the middle of the ocean, but also there's a lot of close-ups of just Robert Redford just sort of interacting, sort of thinking, and sort of just doing monotonous boat things, which I feel weird saying this, but admittedly I kind of like drifted off for about like at least 20 minutes of the movie. Not because of the movie itself, it's probably because I was kind of tired. But I think it's to the benefit of this movie, because again, like this is a movie where there's basically no dialogue or very little context given to like what's happening or why he's doing some like actions of like boat repair, or just like surviving on the ocean. He just sort of does things. So maybe like if you once you see the movie completely in like fully conscious mind, like maybe you might get very like this sort of bored by like long stretches of this Robert Redford, like he's cooking, or he's just eating by himself, or he's just pouring himself a drink, or he's just trying to again do boat repair. But then you have these scenes where he's basically trapped on his boat, and he like the boat sometimes like it's just over subsided by the ocean, and like he's in the boat, he's in like the cabin, in the boat cabin, and he's thrown upside down, and he's just trying to break it out, or he's just thrown off the boat, and he's just holding on to like the mast, thrown off the boat, just holding on to like the mast or like the ties to it, and it's I'd be really impressed if Robert Redford actually did some of those stunts, because he's 77. Granted, in the credits there's a stunt double, but like I'd be impressed if like if Robert Redford does a lot of those stunts. There's like this great scene where he's climbing up the pole of the mast to repair like these cables or something, and you get this great scale shot which just looks down from the ocean. That if this was in 3D, it'd probably look really good. Very good. Director. He's written an incredibly simplistic movie that tackles the same issues with same like kind of basic theme of like what's it mean to fight for your life, or deal with some kind of trauma. But he like the way he handles it in terms of like having a visual language, and this movie's very well, like it seemed like it was prepared very well visually to target or adapt to address a certain kind of symbolic language. There's rings of fire. There's the moon. There's how the moon progresses. There's like scenes where he's trapped, like under like when he's like eventually like his boat eventually just gives out, and he has to survive within like this weird mass tent. So what he has to do is swim. He's like hiding under sand, and like he's so being tossed around by the ocean, but he's basically like this little kid hiding under a tent from like monsters or like things around him, and like every time he's thrown out the boat, he's sort of forced into like a new scenario or kind of rebirth facing him, and it's really powerful stuff. It's addressing what else is not dealing with trauma, but also like dealing with like how like what's again, it's like same thing with Gravity. It's like what's it mean to like not give up on life, where he gives up, or he could very easily well give up at any point and just like die alone. No, or like how does your actions get you in a certain place in life? Because that's like, well, that's one of the things like this movie has above Gravity, I think, in terms of a script level, because like it shows like his actions got him to where he is in this point, where like in Gravity, Chandor Bullock's character, like she's not directly responsible for what's happened to her. She's just sort of like this. She is a victim of circumstances. So, and there's these great images of just him alone in a boat, or like these vast ocean shots. I'm not sure, like apparently they shot in Baja California or like New York. It's weird. The music in this movie is fantastic. Alex Ebert, who I don't know if like that's I hope like that's an actual descendant of Roger Ebert, bless his soul, rest in peace. It's very sparse, but it's one of the best musical soundtracks or score for a movie I've heard since The Impossible, which is very like my dad references very much very Ennio Morricone-esque. If you haven't heard of his music, I recommend the soundtrack for The Mission. It's beautiful stuff. It's handled very sparsely. It's much better music than like what Hans Zimmer did for 12 Years a Slave. Honestly, I think this is a better contender for this. Robert Redford deserves Best Actor more in this movie, in terms of just having to deal with like a physical performance, or like physical and a psychological performance of having to like do a lot of these stunts, or just sort of act by himself, or give you the impression like he's this kind of expert who knows what he's doing. What other it's really he's my favorite. He's my top candidate for best actor at this point. I'm pretty damn sure he's a lock for at least for a nomination. In my opinion, I'm gonna be doing a lot of this Oscar race type stuff as like the season ramps up. What else? When I compare between this and Gravity, which would I pick? I'd pick Gravity because it's a definitely more accessible movie, and it has more visual stuff too. Is that again it has more impressive visuals, but like All Is Lost is a very great companion to it. In my opinion, and it has some fantastically thrilling sequences, so scary, very tense as hell. Again like a lead, only strong performances, a strong lead performance and very great visuals really can engage you, and that really addresses like to the benefit of like the medium of film, just like a series of long stretches of images that tell a story, and that's I think that lives up more than like what Gravity is doing in terms of like not in terms of using exclusively the medium film rather than just like a collection or just never mind. But All This Lost, it's damn good film. It's a damn great film in my opinion. There's a lot of, there's some weird stuff to it, what else? Again, if you don't have a great attention span, this movie will probably bore you from time to time because there's a lot of monotony and between these great thrilling moments. The Maris Klein, there's this for sure not exactly running gag, but thing is when he's approaching this space in the middle of the ocean, which basically these shipping routes where he tries to call help from the Maris Klein shipping cargo containers. It's and they don't notice him at all. And it's between this and Captain Phillips, these people look like assholes who don't know any, or the people who are hired to man these cargo ships. They are very competent. And at the end, there's a great shot in the end where this ending. It's one of those endings it could be interpreted in so many different ways. It could be it's almost like one of those it's at the end it's like a dream, or where it's the judge of a character, but it's satisfying. It doesn't leave you in a big cliffhanger unlike Prisoners, but it's so very, you could interpret it in a lot of ways based on Robert Redford's character, the little backstory he's given. Yeah, I guess I don't want to spoil. There's not again because there's no it's handled very. It's handled in such a strong, very astute way. It's just it's very. It is Gravity and hardcore. It's just putting this character who has been through some kind of trauma and just taking on this journey to where they have a kind of rebirth. And J.G. Chandor and Robert Redford do a commendable job of just selling this with just such a minimalistic but very fulfilling, thematically fulfilling manner. Yeah, it's one of the best performances I think you'll see all year from an actor. Actor has some incredibly thrilling boat sequences. Between Gravity and space, and this All Is Lost, and Captain Phillips with sea, I think it's really, I think it's really safe now. There's a stay on land for quite a while. And this, wow, yeah, the Oscar race. It's coming up. Definitely a lock. See this if you can. If you're up for more of that gravity kind of adrenaline, or just that kind of experience of just learn of being with this character. There's a lot of trauma cinema going on nowadays. This is way, but I forgot to mention this, and like, I should mention this, like in terms of this scheme of this grand scheme of isolationist cinema nowadays with Gravity and Life of Pi. By the way, this is way better than Life of Pi in my opinion. Life of Pi is prettier, but I think this movie has more stuff to it. I think, at least for me, for my taste. So definitely see this movie if you can, or if you haven't seen Gravity already. And thanks for watching. Thank you for watching and putting up with my weird hosting. I'm still getting the hang of this. Thank you. Bye.